Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another interview on MMA Unhinged. Today, I am pleasured to be joined by Khai. Woo, an absolute pleasure. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fantastic. Absolutely happy to be on. Obviously, have to have you on. Absolutely stoked. Absolutely excited to watch you fight on November 24th on a fantastic card on PFL. Must I say? You're probably excited, so I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, for my first fight, I didn't think it would be on the championship card. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it would just be on like maybe a PFL Challenger series or whatnot. But it's like, man, they just threw me right into the second fight. I think I'm the second fight of the event. I'm just like, wow, it's a championship card. That's insane.
Yeah, you just said it there. They threw you right into the deep end, and yes, that's exactly what you done. What they done. Sorry, but looking at that now, was that was that an opportunity that kind of threw you off guard a little bit? The PFL came on, throw you into the World Championships, and is this an opportunity that you feel like you're going to thrive under? Big lights, big stage, etc.
Yeah. Well, when they said, "Hey, you're with the PFL now," when they told me to sign the contract and I'm with them, I only kind of expected big things based off the way the everything was kind of going. The reason why I said I thought it was going to be the Challenger Series was because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough fights for them to throw me on like a championship card, but I guess I did. And they're like, "Well, here you go," and it's just really exciting because it's moments like these that I ask for. You know what I mean? I ask for these moments, and here they are. And that stress, that pressure, it's a privilege to have it. And I'm honestly honored to be able to, my first fight for PFL to showcase my skills on there against a tough opponent.
Absolutely. And if you look at the names that you'll be sharing that stage with, Kayla Harrison, we talked about, Bubba Jenkins, Chris Wade at the top of the bill. We got four championship fights going down. And obviously we got you on the prelim. So this is a fantastic card. A lot of eyeballs will be on the stage that night. Is that something you thrive under as well? You talked about there. This is something that you wanted, that, it's justified. Long time coming. You wanted these big moment fights.
Yep.
Now do you feel like it's all paying off and this is what you like?
Yeah, it's man, every single time I talk to people like you guys and chat about it, it's like, man, it feels good, man. It's like I've just been waiting for moments like these, and it's finally coming full circle. You know what I mean? And man, it's just good when you bring it up. You're like, you asked for these. You bring up the nostalgia, all the hard work I've been doing, and it's putting me right back here. And yeah, I expect. Right now I'm just envisioning the cage door closing. I see my opponent. We touch gloves. We get after. That's the vision. And yeah, sharing the card with big names is honestly, they've earned that name. They've earned that respect, and I'm just happy to be able to be sharing that with them and build a name of my own.
Absolutely, and I would love to ask you about this opportunity. In your eyes, how do you view it? Signing with the PFL immediately, what was your thoughts? What was the initial goal when you're looking at long term, short goal? What does this opportunity mean for you?
Long term goal is always a little bit blurry because you really don't know what happens. Things change so fast. Now, short term, it was I didn't really care about if they have a 35 division. I don't really care if they have this or that. I was just like, let's just get signed and let's just get that win. That's it. Once we do that, you're like the possibilities will be endless. Things will trickle in as long as you keep winning. That's the name of the game. Just keep winning. So right now, for me, it's everything's on this fight. I don't have I don't even have a celebration meal because it's just get this fight over with. I don't even think about the day after the fight. It's just this fight right now. So short term goal, it's just get this fight over with. And long term goal is let's get this fight over with. Let's get it done. But realistically, I've been hearing some rumors about the whole Bellator deal, Showtime closing boxing, and their MMA side of things, and then also people keep bringing up the bantamweight division in PFL potentially, and I'm like, man, if these things are all coming in true and coming to fruition, winning this fight will definitely help catapult me into that conversation or into those levels.
Absolutely agree. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, you are in the most stacked division in MMA. Bantamweight is ridiculous, but
Yeah.
that probably excites you though, with all the matchups that can come your way.
Yeah, I mean, you're only asking for, you know, to stand out in such a stacked division just means you need to be a certain individual, you know. So um, for me to even, you know, get my name up there eventually, it's like, hey, that's how tough the division is. If I could even stack up along those guys, that just says a lot about you, you know. So, but again, the rankings, you know, who makes up the rankings exactly? You know, it's there's a little bit of a gray area there. So at the end of the day, it's just about beating the guys that are in there, not so much getting ranked myself. I don't really care about rankings. I just want to win.
Yeah, I think the media might make the rankings, but not me, obviously. So that don't come at me for that. But yeah, we will talk about the fight itself. You take on Phil Caracappa at bantamweight on November 24th. Initially, talk to me about this matchup. What you expect from Phil? What I've seen, he's fought a lot on the regional scene over in America. Talk to me about what you've seen from him from his previous fights.
Yeah, I don't really look at people's fights from like 2, 3 fights ago just because they changed so much. And
Mm,
I mean, even if you look at my first fight versus now, it's like, man, so much has changed. So I know he's got more fights than me. He's got more experience than me, a little bit taller, seems a little bit stronger, you know. But his, again, like you said, he's fought regional, you know, I've fought international and on the big stage, you know, yeah, he's
yeah,
fought for, you know, contender series and whatnot, but that's a little bit still, in my opinion, still more regional. And you know, it's a big stage, don't get me wrong, but at the time he fought, I think it was a little bit earlier on in the contender series. It was not as big as it is now. So yeah, I mean, he's tough. And it's my first fight for PFL. Is against a guy this tough, and it's only going to get tougher. So I really like the fact that, you know, he's his record is so nice. You know, that just means he's a very, very difficult task. And I think in terms of style wise, though, you know how MMA math doesn't make sense. You know,
yeah.
it's like rock paper scissors. You never know. And I feel like our style matches up very interestingly. You know, he's the kind of guy that on paper it would look like it would be my kryptonite. You know, I think him and I have the same amount of finishes in our career. Um, I might have one more finish than him, but he has more fights. So you know, I mean, and they're also wearing small gloves. Anything can happen. So I just think it's a really tough matchup right off the bat. And when you get tough matchups like that, you discover something about yourself because everything in your fight camp has to be perfect. And even if it's not, you need to grind through it. It's not like I'm given an easy win. It's not like PFL is like, hey, we want to feed Khai some easy opponents and build them up. It's like they're like, hey, we're gonna give him a tough fight right off the bat. So when I win, you know, there will be no excuses. There will be no, you know, they're trying to feed him. He's fighting a really tough guy, you know, and he earned his keep.
Yeah, completely agree. You talked about rock, paper, scissors. So essentially, you're saying he's the rock and you're the paper. Hey?
Possibly, or I'm scissors and he's paper. You know, you never know.
So many different possibilities. You never know with rock, paper, scissors. And we kind of topped on it earlier. Obviously, you'll be exposing yourself to a whole lot of fans, especially after you went viral. Everyone's going to be eager to see how you get on, especially on the PFL big stage. With the new fans that are obviously setting eyes on you for the first time, what can they expect from Khai? How does he fight? What energy does he bring? Yeah, just that sort of stuff. What can we expect?
Yeah, I think for my fighting style, it's not so much chaos. I don't think there's as much chaos with my fighting style as much as there is like art and finesse, and you know, a lot more. The way I like to describe my fighting style is like smooth. You know, they're gonna see a lot of slick and smooth techniques, but with Phil, you know, he might just have to. He's one of those guys that might bring the dog out of me. You know, I might have to just fight like that. I might have to fight. You know, bite down on my mouthpiece and swing, and you know, make it a grinding fight. But at the end of the day, you know, my nickname, the Shadow, allows me to fight like however I need to be, or you know, I could fight my opponent the way he kind of fights. You know, I don't know. I'm adaptable, so if people watch my fight, it's very exciting because I will never fight one way. I can adapt to many different ways of fighting in terms of style. So they're going to see something every fight of mine. I think I've showed a new technique or skill that I haven't showed in my previous fight, and I'm adaptable. So that's very interesting. And also, the energy that I think I present is just um, it might be boring to some, but at the end of the day, it's genuine. You know, what you see here when the cameras are shut off, when, you know, I'm not on social media and I'm at home in my neighborhood walking around and you come up to me, the way you chat with me is the same way you'll see me on social media. You know what I mean? There's no fake persona here. There's no you know, like this egotistical maniac, whatever. There's none of that. It's just what you see on social media is honestly what you get. You know, obviously we have good days and bad days, but even on my worst day, I feel like people could still approach me and chat with me and have a good laugh. You know, so I don't know. I just want to be genuine, especially in this line of work where personalities and they captivate the audience. You know, so people tend to become something that they might not be. And I try to stay genuine as possible, because in this line of work, you tend to, you know, you could lose your mind in this line of work. So I try to be as genuine as possible.
Yep, absolutely agree. As we talked about, you know, making a debut is, you know, very intense, because you want to you want to make that statement, want to make that impact, if you will. Heading into this fight, is that the feeling? You want to make a statement. You want, introduce yourself to the best way as possible, or is it win by any means necessary? What is that feeling heading into this fight?
I would say win by any means necessary within the rule set, you know, hopefully not by a DQ or anything like that, right? Or like an accidental whatever. But obviously the goal is just to win, because, you know, this isn't going to be my last fight. There's going to be so many more fights from here on out. You know, it's just getting your foot in through the door. From there, you know, it gets a lot easier. I think the pressure is more on, I think honestly the pressure is more on my opponent, because I fought internationally. I fought on big stages. You know, yeah, the championship card is different, but at the same time, going into this fight, I do see myself as the underdog. So people see me as the guy that's supposed to lose, and I'm like, well, that's fine. You know, I have no problem carrying that burden. Now it's on my opponent to kind of work through that pressure, and he's coming off of a loss. You know, so I think that everything's on him. For me, it's just I'm just gonna go in there and do what I've been doing for the past couple months in training camp. You know, for him, it's he's got to get a win. You know, so I think there's a little bit of a momentum shift here, and this is a breaking point in both our careers. You know, I have just surpassed my 10th pro fight, and he's already got 10 pro fights. He's got like, you know, maybe 12. I'm on my 11th, pretty even, like in terms of record, pretty even amount of fights. I have a couple more losses than he does. I think one more. And yeah, so we're gonna see who cracks under pressure. I think in this fight, it's not necessarily who's the better fighter, but it's who can withstand pressure a little bit more. And again, he's going into PFL as the guy that's you should win. You know, you should win. They match me up against a guy that's tough, so the ball's in his court. He's got to perform. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready to perform. There's no lights on me. You know, chatting with guys like you're asking, you know, how do you feel? It's like I feel great. You know, but I'm interested to hear what he has to say when it comes to fight time and how he looks and performs, because he's tough. He's fought for Contender Series. He's got multiple belts. He's got more belts than me, so it should be an easy fight for him.
I love it. I love it. This is good. You talked about your international experience, and obviously you referencing obviously the two fights on Bellator. Ultimately, they both didn't go your way, but you know it's pivotal of learning and developing as a fighter. Is that how you see it? Having that experience and be able to grow yourself and become a better fighter. So when you get another big opportunity like this, you feel more comfortable under the big stage and obviously beat your opponent. So do you see them big two opportunities with Bellator being pivotal in this fight?
Yeah, 100%. The thing with those fights where it was early on in my career, you know, I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
less than 4 fights. My first year as a pro, I pretty much fought 6 fights. You know, my first fight I fought in Asia, international. Second fight, pro fight, was here in the U.S. I fought for Bellator. Third fight back international. Fourth fight back here in Bellator again. You know, so it's like I'm fighting international on Bellator. That's all I'm doing. So big moments like those train me for how to deal with those wins and losses. And again, lesson learned for my second Bellator fight was it was a split decision that I should have won. The matchmaker Rich Chow even came up to me at the time. He was like, "Hey, I thought you won the fight. I'd love to get you back in." And it was a learning lesson for me to go, oh man, I'm fighting my opponent's hometown. Like I got to know these things. Like little experienced veteran moves that I didn't learn as an amateur because I didn't have an extensive amateur career. So I kind of knew. I was like, man, I want to have to take some wins and losses as an amateur early on, or as a pro early on. And yeah, definitely now looking back on it, all those fights I've had put me in the PFL situation that I'm in today. And it's like, yeah, let's see if those lessons paid off, against this guy. Let's see if I learned a thing or two. And November 24th, when I get in there and I get my hands raised, it's like, man, if those lessons, I'm so glad. At the time you don't appreciate those losses and lessons, but now you're like, man, the lessons stick around until you learn from them. So I'm really glad that now I get the test again. It's either pass or fail. There's kind of no in between. It's, did I learn my lesson or did I not? And if I didn't, I need to go back to the drawing board and just be emotionless and just be a martial artist and understand why. But as of right now, with the way things are going and the way my brain is processing data and everything, I'm starting to see these lessons start coming up again. And the way I'm handling them on quizzes, at the gym, they're paying off. So let's start handling the big test now. Let's get ready for that. And I'm really interested to see how I do myself.
Yeah, completely agree. Make sure you watch Khai on November 24th, PFL World Championship 2023. It's going to be a good show. And I'm going to move it over to the next topic. And obviously, we have to talk about it. And you've probably talked about it so much on these podcasts. And that is obviously training with Mark Zuckerberg. Firstly, what is that experience like? Being side by side with one of the richest men in the world, one of the most powerful men in the world. It's crazy. How did that feel?
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, it sounds insane. But for me, it's just like I didn't know much about him, to be honest with you, before I worked with him. I mean, obviously, I knew he's the Facebook guy, but I didn't know anything. Like, it's not like I follow his personal life. Like, I don't know anything about Bill Gates or Elon
Yeah,
Musk or Jeffrey.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about those guys really. But one thing I can say is he doesn't feel very intimidating. He feels like he seems like such a nice guy. Like when I hang out with him and I teach him, very nice guy. Like I have nothing bad to say, no bad experiences. He's just a great, genuine guy that I'm just like, man. It's like it's just funny when you go online and see what people say, and they never meet him, and then you meet someone and then you're like, oh man, my interaction with you guys way different than what everyone's saying, or you see, you can have an opinion of someone definitely, but until you meet someone, your opinion isn't as I guess there's not as much weight on it. So yeah, hanging around with him, training him, the experience has been great. I get inspired myself, hanging around with guys like him. Um, it inspires me to want to do more, like get better at business, work harder, just at certain things in life. Like it's like an amateur fighter training with a pro fighter. They're like, man, that's how the pros do it. I gotta train harder. I need to train smarter. And then when I see his work ethic and his mentality, I'm like, man, I should definitely be doing a lot more in the business realm of things. It's very inspiring, and that's kind of why I appreciate and I feel like it's a privilege to be in this position to kind of work with him and you know learn alongside that. As I teach, I learn too. Very cool.
Yeah, completely agree. At one stage, it looked like he was going to fight Elon Musk, but now it looks like that has kind of gone off the radar a little bit. It looked like it was happening, but now it's not. Hypothetically, though, if it did happen and they did fall, I know you'd be backing your boy Mark Zuckerberg. So how would he win? Obviously, the battle of the richest men.
Well, the thing is, I just don't think. I think the reason why the fight didn't happen is because Elon hung around with some smart people, Danaher and GSP, and they probably gave him some words of advice, like, "Hey, you're a little bit older. You do a lot of great work in your own rights. Why are you doing this?" And I don't think it was a smart move at the end of the day for him because Mark trains hard. He's young. He's strong. He's fast. He's got great cardio. I don't think Elon had that. So I think Mark would have won by however way he wanted after Elon kind of gassed out. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think it was. I still stand by with what Mark said. what he's last said on Threads is he wants to move on to someone a little bit more professional, and move on to the next thing. So, whatever he wants to do, again, I'll back him up. But yeah, that thing was kind of fun while it lasted, but I think it was time to move on. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All the talk about the Colosseum in Rome. It would have been a spectacle if it did happen, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would have been. I think that would have been one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. But yeah.
Absolutely. So Mark obviously is a big fan of MMA. We've seen some of the UFC some fights in the past, MMA events. Big question. I don't know if you'll know the answer or not, but will he be in attendance at the PFL World Championship 2023?
No, I don't think he will. I think it's I mean, I think he's got a company to run, I think. Like
Yeah,
I think he's got.
quite a big one as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he's a busy guy, but the cool thing is he does check in, how's training camp, so he does tune into, how my training's been and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be there for that one, but hopefully in the future, when I'm fighting for one of the belts or for that $1 million prize, maybe if he's interested or wants to go, I'll always welcome him to any one of my fights. But at the end of the day, he definitely supports no matter what. It's funny because he checks in time to time. I good luck on your fight. How's training camp going? Even my last fight, I think he watched it on his phone on the stream. And as soon as I won, I went to the back, got medically cleared, and I looked at my phone. And he sent me a message, like, "Hey, congratulations! I saw that was a tough fight, but way to get the job done." It's just cool to see someone like just show support like that. I'm pretty sure you got a million other things to do. I'm pretty sure you have a 70,000 plus staff member company to run. So the fact that he takes time out of his day to make sure the people around him are good, it means a lot to me. And yeah, I think it's super cool. And I feel like, there's not much pressure for me to perform because I've already been working with him for like a year and a half, but definitely want to show him the things that I've tried to teach him and implement in the fight. Be like, see, this is how we do it. So yeah, if there ever is a chance, I'm sure we could get him out there, no problem.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure you catch Khai Wu fighting Phil Caracappa, PFL 10 2023 World Championships on November 24th. Khai, an absolute pleasure. It's been great speaking with you. I'm even more happy and excited to watch this fight on November 24th, PFL 10 World Championships. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your training camp. And we'll see you on November 24th, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we get to chat after when I get that win.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, we'll get you straight back on. Appreciate it. Catch you soon.